All right, here we are, the end of September, and it's time to get into a few different superlatives, if you will. So an interesting way that we're trying to do that is to finish the sentence. So we'll allow Coobs to kick it off. Let's see what we got.
All right, Greg, finish this sentence. The most surprising 4-0 team at the end of September is...
The Kansas Jayhawks, all right there. And this is not a Kansas shirt, all right? It's just a blue shirt. All right. But if it did have a Jayhawk logo on it, I would wear it proudly. I do have a Kansas shirt, I might add, that came with the helmet. So very excited about rocking the Jayhawks, Rock Chalk Jayhawks. You are by far the most surprising team in the college football world because you've gone on the road, you've won a couple games, you're sitting pretty right now. I'm not surprised you beat Duke. I'm not really that surprised you took care of us week one, obviously, but I am surprised that in back-to-back weeks you go to West Virginia, pull off a stunner against what I think is a pretty solid football team. And then you go to Houston, a team that started the season ranked in the top 25, a team that won, 11 or 12 games last year, and a team that most thought might be the best team in the group of five. Not only did you beat them, but Houston hasn't been the same since. You got fighting on the sideline. You basically broke them. What I think is most interesting about Kansas right now is that their quarterback is having generationally good stats. All right, Jalen Daniels right now, he is registered at least a 95 total QBR in 4 consecutive games. All right. That's the longest streak to begin a season. It's pretty crazy, dating back to a metric that debuted in 2004. All right. So Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson, and Mac Jones are the only other quarterbacks that have strung together 3 or more QBR games of 95 plus. Jalen Daniels, of course, 4 consecutive games to open the season. They're also the 4 best performances in school history. That's right. Todd Reesing, back in 2007 against Nebraska, posted a total QBR of 95. Okay? That's the 5th best performance in school history. The top 4 are the first 4 games of the 2022 season from Jalen Daniels. So it's amazing to watch what we've seen from that young man. It's amazing to watch what we've seen from this offense as a whole. And I think they're going to be a legitimately difficult out here at times in the Big 12 season. Now, all that being said, they could still finish 4-8. All right. It could very easily happen. So they got to continue to chop wood. But it's been a really exciting September for the Jayhawks.
No love for Washington? That's kind of a surprise. They were 4-8 last year.
I'm not that surprised, but they also were under consideration as far as the 4-0 teams and the undefeated teams. Look, there's only 21 undefeated teams remaining in college football. All right. So several of which, when you really start going down the list, several of which are pretty dang surprising. Syracuse, another very surprising undefeated.
I thought you were definitely going with Cuse having Dino on the show. This was going to be the all Cuse show too. So
we do appeal to the Syracuse squad of broadcasters. We want to make sure we get great consideration for postseason awards. So we always have to consider Syracuse, but no, we are not going down that rabbit hole just yet, because if you really look at it, Syracuse, what they brought back, the fact that they're sitting where they're at is not totally shocking. And the fact that they've been at home in several of their first few games, like all of their first few games, that helps as well. So I love Syracuse, proud of Syracuse, but no, Kansas is without question the most surprising 4-0 team.
All right, moving on. Finish this sentence. The ACC Coastal is...
Well, I think I'll let Denny Green explain it.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
All right, not necessarily letting them off the hook, but this is pretty much what I thought it was going to be in the Coastal. It's a jumbled mess. All right, every single week, not really sure what to make of it. Do you realize right now that Virginia Tech sits atop the Coastal? That's right. Virginia Tech, the same team that lost to Old Dominion in week 1 of the football season, is currently leading the ACC Coastal. Now, hey, credit to them. Win's a win. Tons of credit for the win. But the fact that they are currently in the lead tells you all you need to know. Okay? The league and the division as a whole, you already have one coach that's been fired. All right? North Carolina can't defend. Duke hasn't played anybody and just lost to Kansas. Doesn't mean, by the way, that might be a good loss. We'll find out as the season goes along, but I'm not sitting here expecting Duke to be in the mix at season's end. I don't like Virginia Tech at all. I think they're very up and down, but might be better. I think they're a bowl team potentially, but not sure. I really respect them to, get out of the Coastal. Pitt, I think Pitt's pretty good. I'll give you Pitt, but it's not a bona fide no-doubter that they're going to be sitting there at the end because they're a little up and down as well. You could have made a case that Pitt could have lost week 1 to West Virginia. They didn't play great in that game. They found a way to win, but they didn't play great in that game by any stretch of the imagination. Miami just lost to Middle Tennessee, have lost 2 in a row, looked awful in the process in each of the last 2 games. I mean, Virginia can't play offense based on where they were a year ago. Meanwhile, their defense has taken significant strides forward, and they were awful on defense last year. So you tell me what the ACC Coastal is, because I personally have no idea what I'm getting from any of those few teams. In the preseason, I thought it'd be a 3-horse race. I thought it'd be a North Carolina versus Miami versus Pitt. I don't trust Miami at all. I think they got major growing pains. I think there's going to be some issues as they move along throughout the season. So I think it could come down to North Carolina against Pitt. Right now, I don't love what I'm seeing from North Carolina's defense. So give me Pitt right now. But anyway, you slice it, it's difficult to kind of discern once you get beyond Pitt exactly what the pecking order may be.
All right, staying with a conference theme. Finish this sentence, Greg. The Big Ten West is
going to go through Minneapolis. Minnesota is the best team in the Big Ten West. Now, are they going to be undefeated at season's end? I can't answer that, but if you look at the metrics and statistically speaking, they are really, really solid. We know they can run the football. We know that Morgan's a veteran quarterback. Still not 100% sold on their passing attack. Think that could become something that could become problematic as the game and the season moves along. But either way you look at it, man, I don't trust Iowa. Do you trust Iowa offensively? Granted, step in the right direction last week, but we're going to find out this week. They welcome Michigan to town. So we're going to find out all we want to know about Iowa this week. Northwestern, yeah, they're 1-0 currently in division, as shocking as that may be, but have lost 3 straight since they won their game in Ireland against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Fighting Illini are very dangerous. All right, I will admit this. I wasn't sure what to make of Illinois coming into the season. They are a very dangerous football team. That team could easily be 4-0. Instead, they're 3-1. And if not for the drive given up there on that Friday night to Indiana to allow Indiana off the hook, Illinois would be in a really strong position to be atop the division. I think that's by far right now, based on what I've seen, the biggest threat to Minnesota. Purdue is a little too one-dimensional, and Aiden O'Connell being a little beat up concerns me as they move a little bit forward. Wisconsin, to me, is so lethargic offensively, and defensively, they look very human. I know they did against Ohio State. I get that anyone's going to look somewhat human on defense against Ohio State, but can they score enough points to knock off a team like Minnesota with the way Minnesota's playing defense in a rivalry game? Have a difficult time seeing that. And Nebraska, don't even get me started with Nebraska. All right, no one makes me more upset than them. They've given up 122 points this year, or 142 points this year, by the way. That is about 35 points clear of the second worst defense in all of the Big Ten West. Second worst defense being the team that beat them. That's right, the Northwestern Wildcats. So everything right now in the Big Ten West is set up for Minnesota to go to the Big Ten championship game. And I actually think they could be very competitive in that setting as well.